You're on a diet. You're doing everything right. Tracking calories, eating clean, staying disciplined. But by 3 p.m., you're staring at the wall thinking about food. By evening, you're negotiating with yourself over whether one handful of chips counts. And by night, you've either caved or you're lying in bed genuinely uncomfortable from hunger. You think the problem is your willpower. It's not. Your body is running a biochemical campaign against your diet, and it's winning. Here's what's actually happening when you feel hungry on a calorie deficit. Hunger isn't just an empty stomach, it's a hormone. Specifically, a hormone called ghrelin, and ghrelin's entire job is to make you eat. Your stomach produces it, it travels to your brain, and your brain responds by making food feel urgent, important, and incredibly difficult to ignore. The cruel part is that ghrelin doesn't just rise when your stomach is empty, it rises on a schedule. Your body learns when you normally eat, and it starts releasing ghrelin in anticipation of those meals. Which means, if you've been dieting for a few weeks, your ghrelin is firing harder and more frequently than it did before you started. You didn't get weaker, your body got louder, and it doesn't stop there. On the other side of the equation is a hormone called leptin. Leptin is produced by your fat cells, and its job is to tell your brain that you have enough stored energy and you don't need to eat. The more body fat you have, the more leptin you produce, the less hungry you feel. But here's the problem. The moment you start losing fat, your leptin levels drop. Your brain gets less of the signal that says you're fine, and more of the signal that says something is wrong and you need food. The leaner you get, the hungrier your baseline becomes. This is not a flaw in your character. It is your biology doing exactly what it evolved to do. Your ancestors survived famines because of this system. You're just trying to have abs and it's getting in the way. The third layer is insulin. When you eat refined carbohydrates, your blood sugar spikes. Your pancreas releases insulin to bring it back down. And if the insulin response is large enough, your blood sugar actually overshoots and drops below where it started. That crash is one of the most reliable hunger triggers your body has. You eat something processed, feel fine for an hour, and then feel hungrier than you did before you ate it. This is why people on low-quality diets feel like they can never get ahead. They're eating, but the food is actively making them more hungry with every meal. So now, you understand the system working against you. Let's talk about how to actually beat it, starting with the most powerful hunger management tool available to you: protein. Out of all three macronutrients, protein is the most satiating by a significant margin. It suppresses ghrelin more effectively than carbs or fat. It keeps you full for longer, and it has the added benefit of being the hardest macronutrient for your body to convert to fat, even in a surplus. When your protein intake is high, your hunger levels drop noticeably. Not because you're eating more total food, but because the food you're eating is sending a much stronger fullness signal to your brain. If you're always hungry on a diet and your protein isn't at least 1 gram per pound of body weight, start there before changing anything else. The second tool is volume eating, and understanding this properly will change how you think about food on a diet. Your stomach has stretch receptors. When your stomach wall expands, those receptors send a signal to your brain that you're full, regardless of how many calories caused that expansion, which means a huge bowl of food with very few calories can make you just as full as a small, dense meal with many more. Vegetables are the obvious example. A cup of broccoli has around 55 calories. You could eat a mountain of it and still be in a substantial deficit. Leafy greens, cucumbers, celery, zucchini, watermelon, broth-based soups, all of these have extremely high water and fiber content relative to their calories. They physically fill your stomach, trigger the stretch receptors, and buy you hours of satiety for almost no caloric cost. Building your meals around a base of high-volume, low-calorie foods, and then adding your protein and other macros on top is one of the most sustainable ways to stay in a deficit without feeling like you're starving. Third, fiber is your direct line to hunger suppression, and most people on diets are nowhere near enough of it. Soluble fiber, the kind found in oats, beans, lentils, apples, and flax seeds, absorbs water in your digestive tract and forms a thick gel that slows digestion significantly. Slower digestion means food stays in your system longer. Glucose enters your bloodstream more gradually, which prevents the insulin spike and crash cycle, and fullness lasts for hours instead of minutes. The target is around 25 to 35 grams of fiber per day. Most people eating a standard diet get maybe 12. Closing that gap alone can dramatically reduce the background hunger that makes dieting feel unsustainable. Fourth, water. Not in the drink more water and you'll feel full way, because that trick works for about 11 minutes, but in the sense that thirst and hunger share enough neurological overlap that your brain regularly confuses one for the other. When you feel hungry outside of your normal meal windows, drink 500 milliliters of water and wait 15 minutes. A meaningful percentage of the time, the hunger either disappears entirely or drops to a manageable level. It wasn't hunger, it was dehydration, presenting as hunger because your brain used the same distress signal for both. Beyond that, foods with high water content genuinely contribute to the stretch receptor fullness signal. Hydration and volume eating work together in ways that make a real difference at the end of the day when willpower is at its lowest. Now, let's talk about meal structure, because when you eat matters almost as much as what you eat when hunger management is the goal. Spreading your calories across more meals generally doesn't help hunger unless those meals are well designed. What actually helps is front-loading your calories, eating more in the first half of the day and less in the second. Research consistently shows that people who eat a larger breakfast and moderate lunch report significantly lower hunger levels throughout the day, compared to people who eat the same total calories but concentrated in the evening. Your hunger hormones follow a circadian pattern. Ghrelin is naturally lower in the morning and rises through the day. Working with that pattern instead of against it, by eating more when hunger is physiologically lower and less when it's naturally rising, makes the whole diet infinitely more manageable. Meal timing also intersects with sleep in a way that most people don't consider. Eating late at night, particularly large meals within 2 hours of sleep, disrupts the hormonal environment during sleep. Poor sleep directly raises ghrelin the following day by up to 24% and drops leptin by a similar amount. So a bad night of sleep doesn't just make you tired, it makes you physiologically hungrier the entire next day. If you've ever woken up after poor sleep and immediately started thinking about food, that's not coincidence. That's ghrelin elevated from insufficient rest. Protecting your sleep is one of the highest leverage hunger control strategies that nobody talks about because it doesn't sound like a diet tip. The psychological layer of hunger is real too, and it doesn't get enough credit. Boredom hunger, emotional hunger, and habit hunger all feel identical to real physiological hunger in the moment. Your brain registers wanting food in the same way, regardless of whether it's a genuine caloric need or just what you normally do at 9 p.m. while watching television. Learning to pause and identify which type of hunger you're actually experiencing is a skill that takes practice but pays off enormously. A useful technique is rating your hunger on a scale of 1 to 10 before eating outside of planned meals. Anything below a 6 is almost certainly not physiological. Go drink water, change your environment, wait 20 minutes. If it's still there and climbing, eat. If it faded, it was habit or boredom asking for food, not your body. Here's the thing about dieting that nobody tells you going in. The hunger never fully disappears. That's the uncomfortable truth. But there is a massive difference between background hunger that's manageable and hunger that dominates your entire mental landscape and makes every hour feel like a negotiation. The first is a normal part of being in a calorie deficit. The second is a sign that your diet structure is working against your biology instead of with it. Fix the protein. Build your meals around volume. Get your fiber up. Hydrate. Front load your calories. Protect your sleep. And learn to distinguish real hunger from the noise your brain generates out of habit and emotion. Do those things consistently, and the hunger stops being the enemy that ends your diet every 3 weeks. It becomes background static, present, manageable, and no longer in charge of your decisions.